UConn in the biggest college football game ever. Sort of. Next. Welcome to the Stan Simpson Show, a program about Connecticut people and compelling issues. Make it a point to drop in every week. Saturday at 3:30 p.m., folks, UConn will play at Michigan in a brand new stadium in a game that could set an attendance record of 109,000 people. So, how do the emerging Huskies shape up against a Michigan team that has lost some of its luster? Current UConn football beat writer Desmond Conner is back, is here to tell us all about it in this historic matchup and why a UConn victory may not be such an upset. In our second segment, we'll talk to life transition coach and author Lori Giles about how women can recover from setbacks and adversity such as divorce. Then we'll wrap things up with a little walk talk. Our entertainment attorney, James Walker, gives his insights on the latest about Fantasia, what's next for Tiger and Elin Woods after their divorce, and his picks for the Emmys. But first, the return of Desmond Conner to the Stan Simpson Show. Haven't seen you in a while. When we kicked the show off, you were regular. Now you're busy. You're out there doing work, and good to see you.
Thank you.
Looking
good to see you, too, as you are as well.
The big game this week.
Yeah, pretty big game coming up.
109,000, Michigan, new stadium, the big house, new big house, right?
Some people would call it a big game, yeah.
Now, here's what I think. I think that this game here, Connor, the tale of two coaches. If Randy Edsall can beat Michigan in Michigan on the heels of beating Notre Dame in South Bend, he's gone. And on the flip side, if the other coach, Rodriguez, loses to UConn in the first game in the new big house, he's gone. Your thoughts?
I'd probably agree with the latter more than I would the former.
Yeah.
I'm just not exactly sure.
That Rodriguez would be gone.
Yeah, no question about it. And, I think he's got to do a very nice job in the in Big Ten conference play as well, and I just don't see that happening this year. I think Michigan has too many holes, some inexperience. They lost a key member of their secondary, so they're gonna have some problems. They're starting some inexperienced players. That's why I also think that they could very well be playing on their heels quite a bit on September 4th.
For the non-football fans, the stature of this game 5 years ago. 10 years ago, this would not have happened. Now it's happening, and UConn has got a pretty live chance to win the game. Sort of the evolution of UConn. Your thoughts on how the program has emerged the last 10, 12 years?
Well, you probably wouldn't think that UConn would be a 3-point underdog going into Michigan. I mean, that's just never, you just would never think anything like that. But
which tells you if that game is in the stores, it's probably a pick-em game,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely, or maybe an advantage. Maybe a slight advantage. But no, I mean, the steps up and the progress may not have been, at the pace that people wanted to see it get to where it is and where it appears to be heading. But I think Randy Edsall had a plan of where he wanted to be at a certain point in his tenure here. And I think
is he ahead of progress or?
I think he's on schedule to slightly ahead of progress.
This is a pretty impressive program in that he's winning games and the kids are graduating. Their graduation rate now has jumped up there. So you've got a program that's going to bowl games, graduating students, beating Notre Dame in South Bend. I mean, I think if he wins in Michigan, Connor, I think he's out of here.
Well, I don't think it would be the Michigan game that would send him out. I think it would be a culmination of all the things that you just mentioned.
Building a program.
Everything he's done. I mean, people are watching him. People are watching the job that he's done. People are watching what he does, with the players that he recruits in terms of, where they're landing now in the NFL. I mean, he's doing a real nice job, whether you like, what they're doing or not. I mean, the guy has been impressive in terms of, getting kids in here that fit their system, developing those kids, and getting them to the next level. We're seeing more of that now, in the last 2 or 3 years. But again, that's part of the process that he began here when he came here like 12 years ago.
How he handled himself with the tragedy last year, how the whole country is watching how he comported himself, and everyone said, wow, this guy really handled himself well.
What would have been, you never wish that anybody go through that experience and that it never happens again. But
the young man who passed,
right? I think it was maybe a month later or something down at FIU.
Right.
So, it was a similar situation. But
give us his name again. The young man who passed away. The person who died, the player,
Jasper Howard, right.
And
And basically, I mean, the way he handled that was just. Most coaches, I think, would look at that and say, gee, how would I handle that? And I think the way Randy handled it is, he just went on his gut, in some things he had learned growing up as a child from his dad on how to handle adversity and tragedy and, those kind of things. And I think he applied those things to this situation and also just kind of played it by ear as it kind of went along. I thought he handled it very well. I thought the team handled it very well, too.
This year's team, 17 returning guys back, 8-5 last year.
Yeah.
Do my homework, Connor. 5 of those losses, about 15 points?
That's exactly right.
This is a team to keep an eye on, right?
And that's why you see
quarterback coming back.
Your guy too,
Zach
right?
Frazier.
That's your guy. You still haven't been able. You still haven't been able to say down goes Frazier like you are. But just a point on Zach. He's really improved from last year, and people saw towards the end of the year how much better he got. But he worked hard in the offseason and in the preseason. He's been really good. So. Big expectations
confidence
for him.
High,
oh, absolutely. It always was.
Yeah.
You're just waiting for the game to reach the confidence level.
I was reading where Edsel said this is the closest knit team he's seen in his time there. That's rare for a coach to say. That means something, that this program is starting to mature now and get this chemistry.
Well, I think they took a big step in that the 4 captains that they have this year, Kendall Reyes, Scott Luttrell, Anthony Sherman, and who am I leaving out? Zach Hurd from Waterford. All those guys did a really good job of, working with guys in the offseason and tell them, hey, listen, we got to be here at this time. We got to be here at this time. This is commitment. This is how we're going to get it done this year. We do it together and stay focused.
Right.
And the first day of practice when these guys came back, I mean, they were in as great a shape as any of Edsel's teams has been coming back on the first day of practice.
Well, Michigan's a great incentive now. When you got Michigan game 1 in a new arena, you better come ready to play it in shape.
I think Michigan. I think Michigan is some of the incentive. I think some of the incentive is also some of the incentive is. I think they're tired of not getting the respect that they think they deserve as a program.
They can get some Saturday now, Connor. They'll give some respect. You can get some Thursday or Saturday at 3:30.
They could.
Real quick, Connor's picks for this year. If UConn's to be where it's supposed to be, these are your tips on what has to happen, right? We call them Connor's keys for success, right? Number 1, the passing game has to stay consistent.
Right. It got off to a slow start last year, and that's why the offense got off to a slow start.
Okay.
But once the passing game became effective, I think really you saw that kick in right around the Cincinnati game where you had the balance, passing and running. I think you saw an effective passing game, an effective offense, period.
Real quick on Cody Ender, the kid who got suspended. 2 kids get suspended. You're talking about the players coming together. You have 2 players suspended, including the backup quarterback. Real quick, what kind of signal does that send when the backup quarterback, leadership guy, is suspended for some off-the-field or off-the-court activity?
I mean, obviously it's not good. I mean, you really, and the thing that's really upsetting about this situation is that Cody, within every couple of years here, he's been playing. He's been getting an opportunity because the guy in front of him has gotten hurt. So he's gotten an opportunity, and he's gone in a game and done well. It's important. It's really important for him when he comes back to have his head on right, because the team really does need him. His experience and how his confidence level in that backup role.
See, I'm pointing. When I point, time. I go like this.
I know that.
You mean time is running out. When you can do it on one thing, when I go like this, it means we're out of time.
Okay.
So back to Connor's picks. You mentioned the passing game. Secondary has to be a problem, right? Those are 5 losses, 3 points. Big point there with the secondary.
Most of it happened there. The Huskies addressed that this year. Randy Edsel is coaching the safety. Daryl Perkins, the first-year secondary coach, is coaching the corners. It's a nice group. And everybody seems to be working well together. Okay. I think they're better than they were last year right now. But I'm
more
looking.
Mature.
And that's the thing I see the most. But I'm looking at them against their own guys. You really need to see them against other teams at this point.
Pressure the quarterback. Kill the quarterback. Can they do that?
I think they can. I think they got some speed on the edge, obviously, with Trevardo Williams. And I think a couple of the reserve guys, Teddy Jennings, A.J. Porti. These are some of the guys that are going to have to step up on the outside. But I think Kendall Reyes and Twan Martin can get it done at the tackle position inside.
Kicking game, he's finally, the last point, got to put the ball through the uprights, got to punt right when you need to do it. So real quick, kicking game has to be tight.
Well, Dave Teggart would be the first one to tell you that he was inconsistent last year. He'll talk about the Notre Dame game where he was inconsistent. But the lasting image, one of the lasting images you have of that young man is banging the field goal to win the game against South Florida, the last regular season game of the year. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of stuff that he's capable of doing, and that's the kind of stuff that he needs to focus on in 2010.
You came loaded for bear this morning, didn't you?
Well, I know you had a lot of stuff for me.
And that blog is still kicking strong. I didn't know that blog was, when I last left you a year ago, it was blowing up, so I know it's blowing up now, right? So they catch you on the blog at current.com. Player to watch for. Who was the surprise, or who was the player who emerged in camp who you say, you know what, keep an eye on this guy this year?
Well, it's a guy who I've been writing about, pretty much the whole preseason, and that's Robbie Fry, redshirt junior running back. He's really.
How about this kid from USC, transfer, DJ?
That's what Shoemate, and that's what I mean. I mean, he's really taken, Shoemate's coming in as motivation, and he's really played well. He really has played well. He's earned some time on the field.
Who would have thought in 5 seconds that UConn would have, 10 years after the fact, a transfer from Notre Dame starting a quarterback, a transfer from USC as a running back? Times have changed.
Times change.
He's Desmond Connor. Check out his blog at current.com. When we come back, we'll talk to life transition coach Lori Giles about how women can rebound after a setback such as divorce. You are watching The Stan Simpson Show.